Nordic friends and guests. Thank you for coming today. My name is Søren Petersen. I'm the chairman of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam. Today is an amazing day. We've been under the way with this event for nearly 2 years. So finally I'm happy that we can kick off today. And one of the reasons we can do this is, of course, Vietnam's fantastic efforts on controlling the COVID. So that's been amazing. Last night we celebrated the Eurocham Gala event, and one of the things we celebrated was the EVFTA, which is the European Free Trade Agreement with Vietnam. And this, and obviously Vietnam's amazing economic performance lately, are opening the doors for Nordic businesses in Vietnam. Not only for new business, but also for existing businesses. So with today's event, we aim to create a quality relationship between the embassies, the Norcham members, which is the businesses, and the alumni, and hopefully we can get this going and create some opportunities for all, whether employment, business to business, and so forth. So we have a fantastic program put together by all our great staff here today. And of course, I want to thank the members, the sponsors, the embassies, and the alumni. And today, Tue will take us through the program. Tue is the vice chairman of Norcham, and he will guide us through the day. Tue, please.
Thank you, Søren. So thank you all for joining here today. I think it's great to see so many people. It's difficult when you do the first event to really anticipate how many will show up, and we had great attendance from companies in the beginning. We wanted to limit it to 20 booths because we thought then people will feel they need to sign up early in order to get those 20 booths. Today we have 22, and we thought, oh, we have 22 companies, we better make sure that there are some alumni. And a lot of people signed up, so we're very, very happy with the attendance here at the first event. For us, this is really the kickoff of what we believe will be the signature event of Norcham in the future. So every time we do our general assembly and we talk to our members, they all come back and say, please help us with employer branding, with recruitment, and so on. And the event today is really a result of that, and we are very, very happy to see so many people here, and we hope to be able to do this every 6 months in Hanoi, in Ho Chi Minh City, so you'll be able to attend once a year. So we're really, really looking forward to growing this event and making sure that every time we improve and make it even better. But I think we're off to a good start. So thank you all for joining. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to make such a great event today. Many of you are here for very concrete reasons. I myself, I need an office manager. So if anybody is vacant, right, then you can come and see me later on. And it is tough in Vietnam to find the right candidate. I think many of us from Scandinavia, we come from small countries with 4, 5, some even 9, 10 million people, and we come to Vietnam, and it takes some time to realize that when you're in a labor market with almost 100 million people, you really need to make a name for yourself. So it is a tough market to find the right candidate, and therefore we hope that with the event today, a lot of the companies here will be able to match with strong candidates who have a background that is relevant for them. And I know a lot of the alumni here are looking forward to meet companies, to make connections, some for jobs, some for business relationships going forward. We talked a little bit. We were unsure about when we were considering alumni. We thought it was a lot of young people, and we were reminded, of course, by Mr. Ha, who is on our board. Is he here somewhere? Yes. Yes, right there. So Ha is one of the young alumni who joined our board, and we realized, some alumni maybe didn't study in Scandinavia and the Nordic countries yesterday, but maybe a couple of years ago. And therefore, this is of course not just about getting your first job, but also about creating connections. And I think the great thing, now I've joined a lot of events with the Swedish alumni, is that when you meet people in Vietnam who studied in the Nordic countries, there is actually a very, very strong bond. And I think this is also about then expanding the Nordic network in Vietnam, making sure that we extend it to as many people as possible. And we're very happy to contribute to that today. We are on a special mission here. Our mission is to create a Nordic movement, based on shared values. And I think we are all here together on this mission. In order to define that, we thought who will be better at doing that and understand the topic than the honorable representatives from the Nordic embassies. And the first speaker, I think, is well known to a lot of you, Ms. Anne, who's the ambassador of Sweden. So she's an experienced diplomat, specialized in Middle East and UN issues. She worked in Jerusalem, New York, and Stockholm. She holds a master's degree in international relations from the School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London, and a bachelor's degree in political science in the Middle East and Arabic language of Uppsala University, who is also represented here today. So welcome, Anne, and please help us to kick off the event.
Thank you. Thank you, Norcham. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I have a confession to make. I love Sandvi. Sandvi is the Sweden Alumni Network in Vietnam, and I love them. They make my life so easy. In fact, they are better ambassadors for Sweden than I will ever be. Ever since I arrived in Hanoi about a year ago, I have been surrounded by this super cool bunch doing Sweden branding and Sweden promotion just because they like Sweden, and they are not even paid for it. And you know what? I think they are more convincing to a young Vietnamese crowd than I am when I talk about innovation, sustainability, and gender equality, because many of them have actually studied those topics in Sweden, in different universities. And many of them did so recently, some of them not yesterday. And you know, I studied Arabic and Middle Eastern studies more than 20 years ago. How relevant is this in this context? Me and my two predecessors, Per-Erik Högberg and Camilla Melander, who you may know, we have struggled to modernize the image of Sweden in Vietnam. And we have done the journey moving from aid to trade. So when I meet top leaders in Hanoi and we talk about Sweden, they immediately mention three things: Olof Palme, Bai Bang, and ABBA. Don't get me wrong, I like Olof Palme and ABBA and the Bai Bang project, which was the most successful Swedish development cooperation project in history and the largest one. And that they are definitely part of our history in Vietnam. But I try to counter with a bit of a more modern image of Sweden, mentioning Skype, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a feminist foreign policy, Spotify, Greta Thunberg. And you know, I can talk, but what Sandvi is doing, they are actually walking the talk. They organize activities like blogging, where you go jogging and picking up garbage. They organize activities like clothes swapping events, where you show that our behavior as consumers is not sustainable. So they actually display sustainable living in showing how to do it. Okay, that was my confession. Now I go back to my scripted speech. Dear colleagues and friends, I am so happy to be here to participate in this special event, the Nordic Alumni Day. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that representatives from Nordic embassies, Nordic business communities, and the Nordic alumni networks meet, gather, network, and possibly discuss a cooperation platform. First of all, I would like to stress that Sweden is an export-dependent nation believing in free trade. Our Swedish export strategy is the guiding document for Team Sweden. And Team Sweden consists not only of the Swedish government and the Swedish companies, but it also consists of agencies like Business Sweden and the Swedish Institute, as well as other governmental agencies and all the embassies around the world. And together we do promotion work globally. The Sweden promotion work aims to increase free, sustainable and equitable international trade, but also to promote values including democracy, human rights, gender equality and income education. Sometimes we talk about them as Swedish values, but I really think they are global values and of course Nordic values. In education, the Swedish Institute, SI, a Swedish governmental agency that promotes interest in the field of culture and education, provides not only toolkits, promotional material and platforms for the embassy to promote education abroad, but also financial support for study in Sweden related activities, including the fairs that we organize on a yearly basis. SI also provides financial support for the Sweden alumni to form their networks and execute themed events prioritized by the Swedish government, together with the embassy or by themselves. For example, alumni gatherings, workshops, eco-fikas on topics including sustainability and gender equality. So in 2016, a group of active Swedish alumni in Hanoi started to meet occasionally. In 2017, it was officially organized as a network, Sweden Alumni Network Vietnam, SANVI, and was recognized by the Swedish Institute as an official network and a member of international networks of Swedish alumni. It has more than 100 registered members today. In 2019, SANVI was actually selected by SI as the Alumni Network of the Year globally. According to the motivation, SANVI has strategically addressed topics in line with the Sustainable Development Goals and gender equality through a large number of alumni activities throughout the year. And this, of course, coincided with our 50th anniversary of bilateral relations between Sweden and Vietnam. Although the most active members of SANVI are in Hanoi, SANVI has tried to develop a network by having reach out activities to other cities, notably Ho Chi Minh City. As a result, SANVI Ho Chi Minh City was formed in late 2019 and was then also recognized by SI. So SANVI Hanoi and SANVI Ho Chi Minh City are two separate independent entities now, but still collaborating for activities and events. SANVI has been working closely with the embassy on sustainability focused events like the 7-day challenge to promote urban sustainable lifestyle, blogging and the clothes swapping events. SANVI also supported the embassy's education promotion activities, including study in Europe and study in Sweden, as well as pre-departure and sending off and welcome back events. The embassy has also invited master graduates to one of our business breakfasts for exploring job opportunities with Swedish companies. We were also asked about our priorities in education. So regarding our Swedish priorities in education in Vietnam, we are happy to share that even though our bilateral development cooperation ended in 2013, quite a number of partnerships between Swedish and Vietnamese universities, agencies and organizations remain today, especially in the field of research and education. We see more and more joint training programs, as well as professional student research exchanges in several fields like agriculture, forestry and healthcare between Swedish and Vietnamese universities in recent years. The Swedish government, through the Swedish Institute, offers scholarships to Vietnamese talented students for participating in higher education programs in Sweden on a competitive basis with other countries in the region. Vietnam often gets about 10 seats from this program each year. The Swedish government, through the SI, also offers management program targeting senior positions from trade trade, industry and the public sector, who can influence the organization's business strategy in environmental, social and financial aspects for sustainable business. Vietnam receives about 5 to 10 places for this program every year. Furthermore, the Swedish government offers short-term courses through SIDA, our development agency, called the International Training Program, ITP, in media, local governance and forestry management. And those are carried out by Swedish organizations and Swedish agencies. In September 2017, a MOU on research in higher education was signed between the Swedish Ministry of Education and Research and the Vietnamese Ministry of Education and Training. This has laid a foundation for further cooperation between the two countries in the years to come, including sharing experience in research and development via the triple helix model that requires engagement, interaction and cooperation between government, academia and industry. In recent years, the embassy, together with Swedish companies and Uppsala University, representing also 5 other top universities in Sweden, have visited several universities in Vietnam, in Hanoi, in Hue, Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, An Giang and Can Tho, to promote Swedish innovation and sustainability as well as the triple helix research model through a Swedish innovation context focusing on SDGs from Agenda 2030. Some local universities signed collaboration agreements with Swedish companies for a demand-driven approach to students. So I hope today that we can share experience in these fields and that we can have a fruitful discussion about how we can strengthen our collaboration between companies, the Nordic embassies, the Nordic alumni, as a Nordic team in Vietnam. Thank you.
Very much. The next speaker that I would like to invite is the Finnish ambassador, Mr. Kari. And Kari, he has a master's degree in social studies from the University of Helsinki. He also served as first lieutenant in the Finnish Army Reserve. And as a true Finn, he is a member of the Sauna Society of Finland. I think if we have any... For the Finnish alumni, they have probably had an introduction to that very, very important part of Finnish culture. He was deputy head of the Finnish mission to NATO, and after that he was head of the Secretariat for Nordic Cooperation, and represented Finland in the Nordic Cooperation Committee. And we've actually heard a lot from Mr. Kari about his activities during that period. And I think what makes his remarks here very relevant is how he worked to understand the shared Nordic values and can give his perspective on how we can nurture and foster that in Vietnam.
Thank you. So I will try to answer to demands and requests at some other point, because actually I was prepared to make like a short advertisement of Finland as a place to study. So I will stick to my preparations then. So, but first, I also want to thank this possibility to meet specifically with young Vietnamese who have studied in Finland and who are interested to study in Finland. And just as with Anna, it's a really best part of my week or month when I have these kind of chances to meet with young Vietnamese people looking at the future. So you own the future of this country, and this is really a great pleasure to have interaction with you. So Vietnamese students in Finland are one of the largest international student groups in Finland. To my knowledge, Vietnamese students are the third biggest group of internationals in Finland, and the amount is roughly 2,500 Vietnamese students in Finland. Right now, with Corona, of course, everything is difficult and peculiar and strange, but roughly roughly 2,500. That's a very big amount for a country the size of Finland. It's over 10% of Vietnamese students in the EU, and Finland is definitely less than 10% of the EU. Vietnamese students usually in Finland are very welcome, and usually Vietnamese students also succeed well in their studies. Finland for Vietnamese students is a safe place to study. Tuition costs are reasonable, and quality of education is good. And the motivation for having international students is very important to mention. So the motivation is to make Finnish universities and colleges more international. So the more that the college has international students, the more the Finnish students in that college get an international education. So that's very much the motivation behind, in addition that it's also good business to have students from abroad. What is very peculiar for Vietnamese students in Finland is that most Vietnamese students in Finland study for a profession. So if you compare to other international student groups in Finland, many of these students study PhD or very high-level educational rankings. But Vietnamese students are basically like filling in for the big lack in Vietnamese education system, and that is good professional education, and so it's studying for professions. Very much in vocational colleges and the colleges that we call ammattikorkeakoulu, I think it's vocational college, and University of Applied Sciences. Then there is a very great demand in Finland, in our economy, especially for ICT-related expert staff. Also for other expert staff, but specifically for ICT. There's about a deficit of about 50,000 highly trained ICT specialists in Finland. So as I see it, by definition, studying in Finland and abroad should be like a continuum that means both studying and then eventually also working for at least some time in the Finnish economy, and then later on with Finnish companies here, either in Vietnam or more broadly in the Southeast Asia region. So as we see it, as I see it, there is kind of a developing nexus. There is a nexus which includes studying abroad, labor mobility, outsourcing in an increasing way also from Finland, and then activities in the ecosystem of startups and innovation cooperation. All of these four feed into each other, and studying is one integral part of that. So the embassy in Hanoi, we are very engaged to promote studying in Finland, and we are also engaged to promote labor mobility from Vietnam. And I can just pitch at the end that we are trying to get a posting into the embassy for a social media and public relations expert for next year. So please follow closely our web page, and once we get the budget authorization, then this kind of a posting is coming open. So thank you very much, and sorry I did not answer the question. On the spot there, then we have a topic for next time when we're back in Hanoi. I would like to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Henrik Hjort. And Henrik, he's counselor at the Danish embassy and actually working directly with education and statistics. Henrik has a broad educational background, so has a background in education and joined the Danish embassy in order to promote Danish education and collaboration with Vietnam. So I'm very excited to introduce Henrik because he will give the view of education and collaboration for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your kind words. I was so puzzled to see how you would introduce me, and I can assure you I'm not going to do a lecture, although I have this educational background. I would like, first of all, of course, to say thank you for having the opportunity to come here. I've been very excited, and I know Søren talked about the 2 years preparation, and I've been part of it in the sense that I've been discussing and also trying to assuring that this would be a great event. And I think from the turnout here, it looks very good and the ambience is very fine. So thank you very much for that. I would like to do a little introduction of myself and the things that I do in the embassy, and then widen the perspective a bit to tell a bit about the focus points of the Danish embassy. When you look at the map, Denmark is nearly disappearing, but I hope that we can sort of lift it a bit during this speech here. I work with, as Tu mentioned, I work with education and I work with statistics, and funny enough, also educational statistics, big data, and migration statistics. In the research area of the Danish embassy, we have health, we have food safety, and we have education. And we have energy as focus points for the research that we're not conducting at the embassy, but promoting and providing funds for. And of course, we have this strong focus on education. I think Anna mentioned these different forums that we engage ourselves in, the studying in Europe, and the possibilities through EU to get funding for studies. There are a limited number of scholarships in Denmark for Vietnamese students, and I think many of you apply for these. But our focus in education is a bit like the Finnish focus. It's based on, or focused on, vocational education and focused on professional education. And I was just talking to one of the participants here today about the challenge for Vietnam in the coming years. We are very much taking up that challenge and trying to assist and do our best to help Vietnam to grow in skilling up Vietnam. We know for a fact that, of course, it's important to have research, PhD programs, and so forth. But the big challenge lies in the fact that you have a qualified labor force that can grow Vietnamese economy and help Vietnam to prosper and to become more than just a middle-income country, but also in the first league of the middle-income countries. And education is the answer to that, funny enough. We have chosen to focus on 3 different areas of vocational education in the Danish embassy. One area is the graphic industry, another area is furniture production, and the third area is food industry. And the reason for that is that the majority of Danish companies in Vietnam is covering these areas. That doesn't mean that we're not interested in other areas, but these are the, you could say, the main focus for the Danish embassy. And what do we do in that field? We try to help with renovating the curriculums. And the main point, and the main, you could say, task we see is that we want to bring students, colleges, closer together with industry. So this event here is actually right up our alley when we're talking about what we want and what we would like to see in the future. One area that we would like to introduce is this so-called practical placement, where students have the chance to go into the company and take part of their education in the company. Not as a study visit or as a company visit, but as an active part of the education. It's complex, it's difficult, and it's new, it's a novelty to have that perspective on your education, but it's very rewarding because it gives the student and the company a clear idea on what are the needs, where are we going, in which direction are we moving. So this close tie and collaboration is a strong asset for Vietnam, for the companies and for the individuals. So I think that you alumni here. You will carry the future, and you will see more of that, I'm sure, because this is a way forward. In Denmark, we have something called the Danish Fellowship Center, which is a kind of, you could say, a course factory in the Foreign Office. The Fellowship Center organizes courses for Vietnamese participants, and we draw a lot of our alumni in our network from these courses. And the courses have a wide range of things, environmental, climatic things, healthcare, energy, all the things that we are focusing at the embassy. The DFC is offering courses in. Now, I was thinking a bit about the future perspective, and I think in a very narrow future, I think and I hope that you carry on this activity in Hanoi next time. I love coming down here, but the embassies are based in Hanoi, and actually a lot of the alumni are in Hanoi. There's a funny sort of split between these two cities, and you all know that quite clearly. But the companies are down here, so we have to, I think, make this dual, what do you call it, event, that we can alter between the north and the south. So I hope that I'll be able to come again in a foreseeable future and to support this activity. So thank you very much once again, and I wish you all a successful and wonderful day in networking. Thank you.
Very much, Henrik. We will be sure to be in Hanoi soon. The next presenter is Jan Gude from the Norwegian Embassy. So Jan is Deputy Head of Mission at the Norwegian Embassy. He has more than 30 years of experience in the foreign services. And he has extensive knowledge from Asia, having been stationed in Jakarta, New Delhi, Beijing and Hanoi. So we hope from wandering around the world here, understanding education, understanding Nordic collaboration, that Jan will bring us back to Asia and help to kick off as the final embassy speaker here.
Thank you for the kind words. It's not always fun to be the last speaker, because I have to live up to all the good speeches last before me. Let me just first of all thank Norcham for holding this event. And when I see all the companies present here, I think this has been a very successful event so far. And I'm really happy to be here and be a part of that. Let me say a few words about Norway and education. Globally, education continues to be the top priority for Norway. We believe that education is vital to ensure long-lasting peace, resilience, and sustainable socio-economic and human development. Norway will remain committed to ensure quality education for all by 2030, and since 2013, Norway has more than doubled our humanitarian development budget for education. And from 2018 to 2019, we even increased our support further. Bilaterally, Norway has a long-term partner with Vietnam since 1971. Norway provided a total of almost 1.5 billion Norwegian kroner in official development assistance to Vietnam over the last 50 years in various areas such as fishery, renewable energy, blue ocean economy, public administration, reform, biosafety, human rights, climate change, disasters management, education. Norway is a strong supporter of education in Vietnam. Key support included, but that's not limited to, rebuilding primary schools, primary education for minorities, vocational training, ethnic development, education development support for ethnic minorities, and national target program for education. One special area which we have been very active is to assist in the geohazard mitigation program for Vietnam National University. So we have a lot of Vietnamese students come to Norway to study landslides and all, which they got a lot of use for the last couple of weeks. And it was quite interesting to observe how many of those people who has been active in the last couple of weeks has been educated in Norway. So clearly this was a very successful program. We also have programs to support educate people in the areas of biosafety and biosecurity. And we have had a very long and strong cooperation with Nordic University on fisheries. And there's an ongoing partnership between the Norwegian Business School in Oslo and the Foreign Trade University in Hanoi within the area of business management. Institutions that we have been partnered with is, of course, the Norwegian Geotechnical Institute in Oslo University, the Bjørknes Center for Climate Research, both very relevant these days. We have Bioforce, Tromsø University, Norske Veritas, Business School, and a number of these universities have Vietnamese partners here. While our bilateral aid was phased out in 2017, there are still some projects running under a global framework that we have, and that's primarily in the areas of fisheries and business management. But we're also trying to increase the new areas like blue ocean economy, marine plastic, and renewable energy. I will also say a little bit about our alumni. We might not have as a professional alumni organization that Sweden has. I was very impressed when I heard Anna mention how they're working, and I think it was a great inspiration. So probably we have to learn a little bit more about how you do these things. And definitely I will contact you later to hear more about that. But we have a small alumni here, about 300 members, which are working all over in the Vietnamese society, both in the public institutions, and also in the private business. And we mentioned especially the key areas of fisheries and business and geoscience and law. These are all areas where we have a substantial number of Vietnamese students in Norway, and now they are in different important positions here, and has been and will continue to be a good network for us. I will just say a couple words at the end that I think education is one of the best ways to further intercultural understanding and also to learn each other's countries. And it's really good to see so many students studying in Norway. We even now have a tendency, some Norwegian students coming to Vietnam, which also is a very good thing, learning more about this part of the world. We looking forward to cooperate with Norcham on this type of cooperation in the years to come. I think this conference has been an inspiration for us to see how we can use the alumni in a way to further cooperation between our two countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan, for those words, and thank you to all the representatives from the embassies. And thank you very much for being brief and to the point. We are actually ahead of schedule at the moment, so that is very, very good. That was not anticipated. Yes. So we will move to the next section now, where we will have a further look at how it is to be a returning Vietnamese. And I can speak from my own experience, not that I'm a returning Vietnamese. A little bit I am. I actually grew up in Hue, so I have been returning as well. But that's not the point here. The point is coming back to Vietnam is it can be a very tough experience. Some have been away for a semester. Some have been studying abroad for several years. And I know from a lot of the talented young people that I've been recruiting over the years that when you return to Vietnam, there is a risk of reverse culture shock that I think a lot of you have experienced. And I think for us who also live abroad as Scandinavians, the advantage for us is that the country we can come back to when we return to Denmark or Norway or Sweden or Finland is pretty much the same as when we left. Not a lot happened. And when you return to Vietnam after 3 years, everything has changed. And therefore this experience can be tough and frightening, and you often underestimate the impact it will have. And I think this is also where the alumni associations, they play a very important role, because it's a time where you can reflect, you can talk to others. But what I also experienced from talking to a lot of people who return is that they are a little bit fearful for what kind of jobs they will be able to get when they come back. I know when I ask a lot of candidates, so why did you choose to return to Vietnam? It's often because it was difficult to stay. So of course there is a lot of fear when you come back, and what I hope that this initiative can be part of is also then ensuring that when you have been associated with the Nordic culture, that you can then meet companies that represent the same values. We're going to hear from two alumni members. The first is Ms. Laville. Yes, right there. So she studied at Cardiff University, Bachelor of Business Administration with a major in Financial Management. She also studied a Master of Economics at Aalto University with a major in Creative Sustainability. She has been working more than 8 years in startups, SMEs and multinational companies from Finland to Vietnam, with a goal to close the development gaps, improving Vietnam's development, and using the knowledge he obtained from Finland and Sweden to contribute in both economics and social development. She currently oversees a regional operation of a financial service company, while also being involved in supporting local startup communities. So I think it's safe to say that we have a very successful alumni here that we can learn a lot from. So Ms. Young, welcome.
Thanks. Hello everyone. My name is Love, and it's written here that I'm a Swedish alumni. I'm a bit worried to be called so because I've never studied in Sweden actually. I studied in Finland, as you heard, but definitely a Nordic alumni. So please help me to decide whether I'm Swedish or Finland alumni after you hear my story. A while back, I have a traffic accident. I stayed indoors for more than 2 months, but it was not my first accident. My first one was when I was hit by a bike getting off a bus in Helsinki, Finland. Also staying indoors for about 2 months. But traffic accident is not the only thing that reminds me of Finland or Nordic countries. I miss the, believe it or not, I miss the dark winter nights, the endless summer days, many road trips, admiring Nordic fjords. I miss the quietness. I miss the strangers avoid looking at you while walking past you, but also the same strangers who keep drunk talking to you at the bus stops. To this day, I still smile unintentionally thinking about this old God in a campsite telling me that we don't have Wi-Fi here, we have beautiful nature. And that was like my best trip in Iceland. Of course, I miss my friends, my college, I also miss my risi biraka. It's a rice, if you're familiar with it. And honestly, under the Saigon sun, I miss having my eyelash frozen on a minus 20-degree morning biking to school. So my name is Love, and it's not a common name for Vietnamese girl. I guess like more than 10 years ago, my choice of going to Finland for studying was not a common choice among many other choices going to US, UK, Germany, etc. But I believe that it was the best choice. That uncommon choice was the one that shaped me emotionally and intelligently. So as cliche as it is, the Vikings led me to Finland. My high school has a magazine named Vikings, and running articles for that magazine led me to this world of sauna, of ice swimming, summer cottage, of sisu, lagoon, and cricket. I was determined to solve those Nordic stereotypes that Swedes are all rich and tech-savvy, and that a beer can is never far from the reach of a dance. Besides all the meatballs, the vodka, the blunts and blue eyes, I learned this and that of financial management, corporate governance, and sustainability. And I love what I learned there, and I love that I also learned the warmth of people, and also got to make a career with all the introverts and extroverts around me. Living far away from home is not easy, and I believe that all of us here have experienced it to some extent. But for me, living far away from home reminds me to reflect on all the differences and learn from those, and also use those to my advantages. I think I was lucky to land the first job while I was still finishing my bachelor. I worked for a company, a Finnish company, focusing on educational solutions in Finland and across the world. And then I was lucky to be able to work in management consulting, using my knowledge to help global companies to grow in Finland. I think I was even luckier to land this job to connect startups with emerging markets through impact investing. And through that job, I met many of the talented, incredible minds all over the world, and also from Vietnam. The startups, the consultants, the government officials whose goal was to learn from the best, taking the lesson learned from Nordics to Vietnam, and to empower the development of Vietnam. So at that point, I was thinking, okay, I've learned from the world-best educational system, and I've been a global citizen, but I have not really been much of a Vietnam citizen. I feel like I've been far away from home too long, so I wanted to move back to home and use my knowledge to join force in developing Vietnam. I believe that you choose the job and the jobs find you as well. At first, I wasn't intent to find just Nordic company, but after many interviews, applications, I feel like at home talking to these two Swedish gentlemen. And then, so at the end, I decided to join that company, back to the root with Sweden. And then I worked for the company for about 3 years. We tried to bring Scandinavian brands to Vietnam, and also export Vietnam products to the world. I also have chances to work with some of the local NGOs and NPOs like UNICEF, UNDP, and other smaller entities to support the marginalized children in Vietnam. I don't work for the same company right now. Right now, as you heard, I'm managing the APAC region for a fintech provider. But to this day, I still believe that my connection, my relations with Nordic will never cease. 3 years ago, in a General Assembly meeting of Norcham, somebody told me that I had a Phoenix English accent. I think that might fade now. But I still have so many friends like I met from Nordic or going back from Nordic to Vietnam. And if anything, I still ask my friends to bring me some Carbo beer if they ever visited me from Finland. And who knows, with IKEA opening their showrooms, the first showroom in Vietnam soon, I hope, I might potentially spend like every other weekend there as well. I'm forever grateful for the 8 years spending in Finland and 3 years working for Johan & Johan company, that Swedish company. I think the people, the countries teach me the best, teach me to be calm, to take nothing for granted, and to always learn from the best. So I hope that everybody will have the same opportunity that I ever have. Thank you.
Visit these companies, talk to them, hear about their stories, what are they doing, and then perhaps see if there are shared opportunities. $102. 102.